Hey everybody, it's Melissa, the Vibrant Mama, and I am super excited to share with you my tips and tricks on how to take your barbecue to the next level. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. I am super excited about this because this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love summertime barbecues, getting together with friends and family and hanging out and having a good time. But one of my favorite things to do at a barbecue is to wow people with the flavors. I love it when somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I have to have the recipe for that." It's super exciting to me, especially when I know that I used essential oils in the mix. Because the people are like, "Really? I didn't even know you could cook with those." So it's definitely very exciting to share that with everybody, and especially seeing the look on people's face when they're like, "Wow, this is so good." So I'm super excited to share that with you, and I am really excited to hear about your wow moments too. So let's get started with that. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself so that you know who I am. This is my family. This is my husband. We've been married for 9 years and our two beautiful little babies. And they are actually the reason why I started looking into more natural ways of living, healthier lifestyles and things like that. But I really had no idea where to start. And then I met this lady who told me about doTERRA, and I started using the oils, and everything that I tried, it worked so amazingly for the different things that I tried it for. And so I really liked doTERRA instantly. But the more I got to know about their company, I just absolutely fell in love with them. In this particular webinar, I'm not going to talk about the different things that they do because I want to talk more about using your oils to cook with. But you can look up what they do called co-impact sourcing. You can just get onto YouTube and look it up, and they have some short videos about what co-impact sourcing is and what they do with that. And then doTERRA's Healing Hands Foundation. It is absolutely amazing the things that they do for people all over the world and the impact that they're having. I mean, they are literally changing people's lives with their Healing Hands Foundation. And so it's definitely something worth looking into. But I fell in love with this company. I love their integrity. That's something that's extremely important to me, especially if I'm going to be telling my friends and family about something. I want to be talking about something that, has a lot of integrity and something that I can, fully back up, something that I truly believe in before I can, share it with people that I love. So I absolutely love talking to people about doTERRA because they are just an amazing company with amazing products. So before we get started, also talking about the marinades and the different ways to cook with the oils, I want to tell you what an essential oil is. Essential oils are basically the essence of a plant. So I always tell people, if you're a plant and I'm a plant, and we're planted next to each other and you get sick, I don't want to get sick too, but I can't just uproot myself and walk away. So I have to have protective properties about me that are going to keep me from getting whatever sickness you have. I'm not exactly familiar with plant sicknesses, so I don't have any plant sickness names off the top of my head, but basically they need to have something about them that's going to help keep them protected from, not even just sickness, but, harsh weather conditions, drought, over flooding, that type of thing. Not necessarily flooding, but overwatering, that type of thing. So plants are amazing. They have so many things about them that help keep them healthy, help keep them, that they've survived for so many years. So basically there's two different ways that we can get an essential oil out of a plant. For the citrus oils, we use something called the cold press method, where we take the rind of the fruit and we press it together between two mechanical hands and it squeezes it out. And then the second way is called steam distillation, where we take, the flowers, the leaves, the seeds, the bark, all that kind of stuff. Depending on which plant it is, will tell us which part of the plant we're going to use. But they put it into basically, it's like this big metal drum looking thing, and they force steam through it, which breaks down the plant and gets the oil off of the leaves or the seeds or the bark or whatever. And then when the steam cools back down into water, the oil is sitting on top of the water and it's collected that way. So those are the two ways that we get our essential oils. This little picture here, I really like this because this is just a peppermint leaf. If you're just looking at a peppermint leaf, this is what it'll look like. This is what it is magnified all the way down to basically the essential oil sac on there. So it's pretty amazing. And honestly, I'm a total science nerd. So I absolutely love all the chemistry and all that stuff that goes into this, which is another reason why I love doTERRA, because they do an incredible amount of testing on the oils, but they also do a lot of education about the oils, not just usage, but really what is the sciencey. So I get all the nerdy stuff that I like too with doTERRA, because it really gives me all the sciencey stuff. You know, I know nobody really comes to learn about sesquiterpenes, but you know, who doesn't love a good science nut? So, but anyway, but that's what an essential oil is. So when we're using them in our body, they do different things depending on the essential oil, but they always support our wellness. And, you know, people ask me, especially with cooking, you know, what does an essential oil do that herbs don't? First of all, I will say that I still use different herbs in my cooking. I haven't replaced all of my herbs with essential oils, because sometimes it does call for an herb versus an essential oil. But with essential oils, you know, the very first time I started cooking with essential oils, I made pork chops. I fried them up in a pan, and I got the pan and I put, I can't remember if it was olive oil or coconut oil, but I put that oil in the bottom of the pan, just enough to cover the bottom. And then I chopped up an onion and I chopped up some garlic and I let it sizzle in there for a little bit. And then I put a drop of the essential oils in there. You know, there's so many different herbal essential oils, and we're going to talk about which ones you can use. But, you know, a drop of rosemary, a drop of thyme, a drop of basil. You can choose whichever ones you want depending on whatever flavor it is. But I put it in there and I mixed it around, and then I put the pork chops on top of that and let them cook, and then flip them over and let them cook. And I didn't put any herbs on there. And so honestly, when I took it out of the, you know, it was all done and I took it out of the oil, I honestly expected that it wasn't going to taste very good. I really had no idea exactly what to expect, but it was completely naked. You know, normally when you cook with the herbs, they sit on top. So you have like, it's almost like you put their clothes on. But, you know, I mean, these were completely naked. And so, I mean, I honestly thought it was going to be very bland. I didn't think there was going to be a whole lot of flavor. But what I found was that the flavor had absorbed all the way into the center of the meat. Whenever I put herbs on there, you know, you get the flavor, but it's only on the top. It's only on the outside because it doesn't absorb into it. But literally the stuff that I put in there had absorbed all the way into the meat. So in the center of the meat, I could still taste the flavor of the oil that I had put into the recipe. So it's amazing. That's one thing that essential oils do that herbs don't. It goes all the way into the middle. So especially if you're cooking something like chicken legs, that's something that, you know, when you cook a chicken leg and it's still got the skin on it, you put the herbs on the outside, but once you take the skin off, you don't have a whole lot of flavor underneath it there. So you can actually take, you know, some of the essential oils and you can either rub it underneath the skin so it'll soak all the way through to the meat, or you can even just put a marinade on there that's going to help it absorb, you know, use the essential oils for the marinade, and it's going to absorb all the way into the middle of the meat. So it really does make a big difference. And the other thing that I really love about using essential oils, I love to grow my own herbs. I mean, I've got dill and basil and parsley growing right now out in my garden, and I love to use those fresh herbs, but like the moment I pick them, as a matter of fact, I was making pickles the other day from my cucumbers and I was using the fresh dill, and I had picked it probably like an hour and a half before that. And even just in that time from sitting on my counter, it had already started to wilt down. And, you know, so it's kind of amazing like how quickly fresh herbs go bad. I know I stopped buying cilantro altogether because even if I buy a little bit, I can't seem to use it all before it's going to go bad. So, you know, I mean, I was just buying it and basically ending up throwing it in the trash because I couldn't use it fast enough. It would go bad so quickly. And so having the essential oils is amazing because it's not going to go bad. It's not going to, you know, just sit there for a day and just be listless, you know, and lose a lot of its flavor right away. It's going to be something that I can buy today and use in 3 months, and it's still going to have the same amount of flavor. So, you know, essential oils do a lot of things the herb itself just can't do. And so that's why I love using it for cooking. But I don't want to give the impression that I don't ever use herbs with my cooking or that I've replaced all of my herbs with essential oils, because I still like to cook with the fresh the fresh herbs every now and then if I have them available and they're, you know, they're right there. But I really prefer the essential oils because I love how it absorbs, and I love, I love that it doesn't go bad so quickly. So, you know, a lot of people ask me this question all the time, and I love giving this answer. You know, they ask me, what makes doTERRA different? Well, one of the things that doTERRA does that's different is that they get their oil from all over the world. They go to the parts of the world where the oil, or where the plant, grows indigenously. So it naturally thrives in that region, and they get the oil from there. So that you have the better chemistry. Now, people ask me, well, what's the difference? Well, I live in Missouri, and I can grow an orange tree in my backyard if I really wanted to. I can get the right kind of soil. I can build it its own little, area, greenhouse is what I was looking for. I can build it its own little greenhouse. I can keep the temperature right. I can do all that kind of stuff. And in the end, what am I going to get? Oranges, right? And as I'm eating the orange, I'm probably not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is gross. It's a Missouri orange. I'm probably not going to notice it in eating it, that much. I'm going to definitely be able to tell a flavor or difference in the flavor, and probably in the size as well. It's probably not going to grow as big as a Florida or a California one would, but it's not going to be something that's going to be a huge difference. So I understand that question when people ask me that. But the thing is, especially with essential oils, you're getting all the way down to the chemical molecular level. So you're getting down to, the very tiny parts of the essence of the plant. And so if you have something that's grown where it naturally grows anyway, you're going to have a much different result and a much higher amount of the chemicals that you're looking for, the constituents that you're looking for, versus, if you were to grow it in a different region. So if I were to, do the cold press method and get the orange essential oil out of my oranges that I grew here in Missouri, it's going to be a very different chemical makeup than if you were to get essential oil from Florida or a tropical region. It makes a big difference where it's grown. And doTERRA understands that. And that's why they go all over the world to find the oil in the place where the plant grows indigenously. Now, on top of that, they have something that they call certified pure therapeutic grade. And what that is doTERRA's own testing protocol. So it's not something, there really isn't a governing, the United States doesn't have a government agency that certifies things. But doTERRA has come up with their own testing protocol to make sure that they are giving you the most pure, the highest quality essential oil possible. So that's what that CPTG stands for, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. That's their testing protocol. And this is basically what it is right here. So first, what they have is they have the raw material, they get it harvested, and it's distilled into the essential oil like we talked about before. And then they go through this massive amount of initial testing. So they basically, what happens is they get a test batch of that, or a test sample, of that batch, and they run it through all these tests to make sure that it is pure and that it's up to their high standards of quality. So if it's not up to those standards, they just simply don't buy that batch. And this is a sample of the batch that they're testing, and they just simply don't buy it. They're not going to bring it into their facility if it's not up to their standards. So let's say that the first batch, that sample passes the tests. Then the oils are shipped to doTERRA, and they're tested again. They test them again to make sure that what they got, there was no change in the quality or the purity from the time that they tested the sample until now. So they have it tested again. Then they have the oils bottled and labeled, and then they test it again. So they want to make sure they go through a crazy amount of testing. And this picture doesn't even show everything, because what they do is they take a portion of the oils as well once it's all done, and they set some of it on the shelf so that they can test the shelf life later. So basically, they miss out on a profit so that they can test the shelf life and make sure that you're still getting a quality product later. So it's amazing the things that they do. I absolutely love the testing that they put it through. But this really gives me peace of mind to know that, especially, I mean, I'm going to be cooking with these oils. I'm going to be putting them onto my body's largest organ, which is my skin. You know, I'm going to be putting them in a diffuser, so they're going to be up in the air. It's going to be something I'm breathing in. It's important to me, if I'm going to go, you know, go natural and I'm going to be living a natural life, it's important to me that I am doing it right, that I'm not using a product that has chemical fillers in it or is already diluted down, you know, and we don't know with what. So the thing that gets me too, like if I were to go to Walmart, especially, this is kind of your quality test that's really easy to do. If you go to Walmart or a health food store or anything like that, and you see all these different oils sitting there, and they're all the same price, they're all the exact same price, right there you know that that is not a quality product, because each thing is different. Some things have a really high yield. Like, for example, our lemon oil is fairly inexpensive because it has a very high yield. It's very easy to get a lot of lemon oil. But frankincense or the Melissa oil does not have a very high yield. It's very low yield. So it takes a lot more plant material to get the same amount of essential oil. So if you're looking and they all have the same, right there, you know that's not a quality product. So it's important to be careful what you're putting on your body, what you're putting in your body. So I personally only recommend doTERRA oils. Now, I'm not saying that there's not any other quality company out there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there are a lot of red flags in a lot of places. So if you know, whatever oil you choose to use, make sure you do a lot of research on where they get their oils, how they're tested, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you know what you're putting on your body. But that's why I trust doTERRA, because I know what all they do to make sure that it's pure and that it's of high quality too. Because honestly, you know, if I were to distill something at home, I grow lavender as well. If I were to distill it here, I would know that it was completely pure because I know I didn't put any pesticides or anything like that on it. But the quality is not going to be as great of an essential oil as it would be if I had gotten it from France, because like I said, that's where lavender is grown indigenously. So it makes a big difference in the quality standards too. So let's do what you came here to do and let's get cooking. I want to talk to you about, you know, I already told you a little bit about how I did my pork chops, but I want to talk to you, especially since we're talking about barbecues, I want to talk about marinades. The one thing that I struggle with marinades is I'm such a procrastinator. So if I know I've got a barbecue tomorrow, I have to actually write myself a note today to make sure that I get the meat in the marinade. So if you're anything like me, just make yourself a little sticky note. The marinades do not take long to mix up, but you do want to soak them for at least 4 to 6 hours so that it can really absorb in. And you know, it's easier for me if I just do it just right before I go to bed, put it in there, let it sit overnight, and then take it out the next day. But if you're going to be at a barbecue that's like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you could certainly get up that morning, do it that morning, and let it sit for, you want it to sit for a good 4 to 6 hours, just so that it all those flavors have time to absorb in. And, you know, this is a really handy dandy little conversion rate. I really struggle with, I don't measure things. Just when I cook anyway, even not having anything to do with essential oils, I struggle with measuring, not because I can't do it, but because I'm kind of the product of my father. He's kind of like, oh yeah, just take a dash of this and a cup of this and, you know, here you go. And we don't need to measure it out. We're just going to mix it till it looks right. So, but this is a really good thing, especially with, you know, when you do herbs, because you don't want to over season something. I've done that before. We had some friends over and I think it was hamburgers that I made and I put way too much seasoning in there. And so we're eating it. And of course they're trying to be polite. They just had this look on their face. And all of a sudden I said, yeah, I over seasoned it. They just started laughing. But so you don't want to overdo it. You know, even if you have polite friends like mine were, you still don't want them to be like, you know, you want them to say, wow, that was great, not wow, that was a lot. So this is a really good little guide. Now the tiny drop of essential oil, I always tell people anytime you're doing something for the first time, just put a little bit of the oil in there and then stir it up and taste it and see how it is. And then if you want some more, then put a little bit more. But there's, sometimes you can end up adding a little bit too much. So if you have this bottle, like this is black pepper and it comes in a 5 milliliter bottle. And the 5 milliliter bottles and the 15 milliliter bottles have the same size stopper on them. So you're going to get the same size drop. So if it's a recipe that only needs a little tiny bit, what you want to do is get one of these little sample drams. And I can definitely, if you want to get those, I can tell you where to get those. But get one of these because the stopper has a much smaller hole. So you can put a lot less of the oil in there at one time. Now, some people recommend is that you take a toothpick and you dip it in the oil and then you rub it around in your, into whatever you're making. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad idea. It's just that for one thing, I've tried it and to me, it didn't really do much because I think honestly, a lot of the oil soaked into the toothpick, quite frankly, but also I just didn't feel like I was getting enough. Like I did toothpick after toothpick after toothpick, and it just didn't feel like I was actually putting anything in there. And so I like to do the sample dram thing better. Just this is, usually the size of these tends to make 1/3 of the size of a drop. So I would put one of these in there, stir it around, see if you like it, see if the taste, and then you'll know for the future. So if you end up putting, 6 of these drops in there, then next time you only need 2 of these drops and you don't necessarily have to do the little one. So it's all trial and error, but that's a really good way to do it. I personally don't like the toothpick method just because I don't feel like it. I guess I'm just impatient. It doesn't go fast enough for me. So these are just some good ideas. And then of course, this is a 5 milliliter bottle, but we also have the 15 milliliter bottle. But like I said, those have the same size stopper on them. Now you also want to be careful too with certain types of oil, like for example, the wild orange or like any citrus oil is going to be a little bit thinner than some of the other oils. So, you may get more at going in at once. So you want to be really slow when you're trying to drop the oils in there. Because really, honestly, there is a big difference between 1 drop and 2 drop, especially with the herbal oils. With the citrus oils, you can get away with it a little bit more. If you accidentally drop in an extra drop of citrus oil, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. But if let's say you're cooking with oregano, there's a huge difference between 1 drop of oregano and 2 drops of oregano as far as the flavor goes. So you want to be very careful when you're trying to drop them in there. So anytime, any of these marinades, I'm going to give you guys some really good ideas on how to do marinades. And we're going to talk about that as we go through the marinade recipes. But with all of these, you just combine the ingredients in a bowl. And I like to whisk. I like to do the whisk better because I feel like it really breaks everything down, not just the oils, but it breaks everything down into smaller pieces and mixes it together better. That's probably just my own perception, but I like to whisk it all together. But just make sure that it's all mixed in really well. And then put the meat in the bowl. Make sure you cover the meat with the marinade. Don't just put the meat on top. Make sure every little piece of the meat is covered in the marinade. Then cover the bowl and put it in the refrigerator. Like I say, for 4 to 6 hours or overnight. I prefer overnight just mainly because it's quicker, and then I make sure that I don't forget to do it that morning before I get out to the barbecue. So, but yeah, so I'm going to give you a couple different things. So these are just ideas. These are different recipes that people have given in the past. Like I say, I personally am not a recipe gal. I mean, I can follow a recipe, but I like to do my own twists and things like that on different recipes. But here's some different ideas to get you started. So one of the things you have to have in any recipe, you can't just do just the essential oils, because for one thing, if you'll notice on here, we're only putting 1 or 2 drops of each essential oil. And that's not going to cover all your meat. So obviously you have to have some other type of carrier or something like that in there. So like olive oil is a really good one. I really love olive oil. I know some people like coconut oil, but for one thing, coconut oil, you can cook, let me try that again. You have to cook it at a lower temperature. It gets really hot fast, so it'll tend to burn if you use it for your barbecues and things like that, if you use it on an open flame like that. So olive oil is definitely better for that. And I really feel like olive oil coats better, and it seems to stay in place better. I feel like coconut oil is thinner. It's really great for your skin if you're using essential oils and you're putting it on your skin, because it absorbs really fast and it doesn't feel greasy. But with cooking with them, I feel like olive oil does a much better job with that. So you definitely want to have some kind of oil, some kind of something that's going to spread it out, help coat it, things like that. I love doing lime juice, lemon juice, that type of thing. I personally enjoy doing the fresh stuff better. I really didn't think there was a big difference between fresh lemon juice and those little lemon bottles that they have there. But when I looked at the ingredients on the lemon bottles, I thought, okay, this is gonna be lemon juice. It's not. There's so many artificial junky ingredients in just a bottle of lemon juice. So to me, it's worth it. I even went out and bought one of those little juicer thingies that you put the half lemon on and you twist it and whatever, because it's worth it to me to not have all those artificial chemicals in there. But something like with these two recipes, and just to be clear, these are two different recipes. You shouldn't put all of this in together. These are two different ideas. But having that fresh squeezed juice, that's another thing that adds to it, adds to the flavor. I personally am the kind of person, I love the onion. I love onions, and I love to put chopped onions into things. I chop it really fine, and then I also make sure that when I put the onion in there, that all the juices that were on the cutting board go in there too, because of the flavor. It really adds to the flavor. But as you can see on here, you have your different things. Honey is another really great one to add some sweetness to it, but it's also another thing that really helps to coat the meat too, because it's sticky. So it's going to help to keep the marinade in one place to help it coat it better. And then, like I say, you just have the one drop of, and anytime you see where it says one drop, it's most likely going to be one drop out of the 5 milliliter or the 15 milliliter bottle. If they say like a tiny drop or a toothpick, because if you look up a lot of these recipes, you'll see they'll say like one toothpick of oregano or something like that. That would be the smaller, like the sample dram size amount. So, but 4 to 6 drops of the lime essential oil is, from the 15 milliliter lime bottle. And as you can see, like I said about the citrus oils, you can do 4 to 6 drops. It doesn't have to be, if you do accidentally drop in 5, it's not going to ruin the flavor like it would if you were to add an extra one of oregano. Speaking of that, if you, let's say that you're doing one of these and it calls for oregano or thyme or one of these ones that is really, really strong, and you accidentally drop an extra drop into it, I would just put some more olive oil in there. Or, like this one with lime juice, I would put a little bit extra lime juice, something in there that's going to counteract it. I don't know that you would necessarily, I wouldn't think you'd have to double the entire recipe, but just kind of dilute it down a little bit more. It's definitely not ruined. You just need to add some more stuff into it. So this one on the right here that has the ginger and the lemon and the orange, that's just it's going to be a really sweet, really tangy one, especially with the soy sauce. There is another thing that you can use besides soy sauce. It's called coconut aminos. And I've used that before. I got it at my local grocery store in the health food section. So you should be able to find it. But it's a really great soy sauce alternative, and it's really tasty. And it doesn't have like that coconut flavor to it. So that's not going to add that to it. But it's great, and it's healthier for you than soy sauce is. So this is a good idea if you want something sweet and tangy. I absolutely love garlic. Sometimes it's hard for me not to just lick garlic, because I know that it's not as good as it sounds, but just the smell of it, I love when my kitchen smells so garlicky. So if you have one that you want to do, you can chop up the garlic and put it in there. I like to chop it really fine, just like the onions. And then again, the juice into there, into the whole marinade, because that really gives it the flavor. You could also mince it. It's not going to make that much of a difference whether you mince it or chop it, except for, if you chop it, you got to make sure you chop it really fine. So I would get a garlic mincer. Those are really cheap and really easy to use. And you can also, after you mix these together, just, taste it a little bit and see, is this too much? Can I taste the lemon in this? Is this too much black pepper? Definitely work with it. Don't just, do this step for step and then not taste it before you put your meat in there. And then this one has marjoram, clove, and thyme in it. So this is definitely going to be very spicy, and it's going to be, oh my gosh, really good, especially with the wild orange, that extra bit added onto it. Beef broth is another one that you can use, and that's going to be something that's going to soak into the meat, give it that more flavor, but it's another thing that's going to spread it out. And then the apple cider vinegar. This just sounds so good. I might just go make this tonight. And then here's another one. I love using balsamic vinegar. It really gives it that rich, deep flavor. And then, of course, it has the olive oil in there, too. But it's got the black pepper and the rosemary. Rosemary is such a wonderful scent. It's such a wonderful taste. So that one's a really simple one. I really like the simpler ones. But as we're going through these, if you see, you know, I wonder if a little bit of garlic would taste good, or maybe a little bit of onion in here. You can experiment with it and, you know, try different things. It doesn't have to be step for step. Try different things, add different things, especially because these are all marinades. So it's not part of the finished product. Like, it's the flavor coating to it. So, you know, I mean, the flavor matters, but it's not like when you're mixing it into something. Like if you're making peppermint brownies or something like that, you're mixing the peppermint in. So if you put too much peppermint in there, it's going to be overpowering. It's not like where you're mixing it into that. You're actually just making the flavor that goes on top. So feel free to experiment and get creative with it. And that's one of the things that I love about doTERRA, is that they have so many different, especially the herbal oils. They have so many different ones of those. But then here's another one that has the ground mustard in it. That's really, really good. I love having just a little bit of mustard. And it doesn't have a whole lot, but it has a little bit. And then it's got the lime and the black pepper. And these two together are an amazing flavor combination. So I don't want you to just stop with just recipes. You can get on Pinterest, and seriously, you could be on there, just essential oil recipes. You could be on there for days and days. There are so many. But honestly, the best ones come out of your kitchen. They come from your mind. They come from your creativity. Don't just stop with, you know, the recipes that you find online. But also, don't just stop with barbecues. I mean, I cook with my essential oils for dinner. When I'm making lunch, when I get my coffee in the morning, I like to put some in there too. There's all kinds of different things that you can do with your essential oils and cooking, and especially baking. I know I mentioned the peppermint brownies. I actually made some spearmint cupcakes for my son for St. Patrick's Day this last year for his preschool class. And they were really good. And, you know, a lot of people like to put the oil in the batter. And I feel like I don't get as much flavor out of it. I feel like it kind of cooks down. So I actually put the oil in the frosting. So you get a lot more flavor out of that. So I put a little bit of the spearmint oil into the frosting, and it was so good. And I only put, I think I put 2 drops in the whole thing, so that it would just have a little light flavor, because, you know, preschoolers don't need a whole heavy flavor. But I've made cream cheese mince with the oils. I did tangerine oil, and it seriously tasted like an orange creamsicle. It was so good. And I did spearmint and I did cinnamon for those. There's so many different ways that you can cook with the oil. So I don't want you to stop at just a barbecue, because the ideas are endless. There's so many different ways that you can do it, and it's so flavorful and it's so rich. And I just got done talking through that. But I love to use them for baking. I have a lady that, she's a friend of mine, and she does cakes. And she made a lemon cake the other day, and she used the lemon oil. And she was like, people have been telling me this is the best lemon cake they've ever had. You know, it just gives the whatever you're cooking such a deep and rich flavor. And get creative. There's so many different things that, I read daily about, people are like, oh, I tried this and it was so great. And just get in there and mix things up. Because there's so many different things that you can do. So now you're wondering, how do I get these oils? Well, let me tell you. doTERRA has all kinds of different ways that you can get the oils. You can get the oils at retail cost, which honestly, I don't recommend that, just because I hate paying more for something than what I have to. I am a coupon clipper. I really love to get a good deal. But you can certainly do it that way if you choose, or you can get a wholesale membership. Now, a wholesale membership is just like having a Sam's Club membership. You have that one-time fee, and then you get wholesale pricing for the entire year. And anybody that's ever been to Sam's Club or even Costco knows what a great deal that is. And doTERRA is the same way. So if you want to get the wholesale membership, you can either pay the $35 fee, and that's just a one-time $35 fee. And then again, you get wholesale pricing for the whole year, or you can save even more money and you can get one of these starter kits that I have here. Now, my favorite one is the one in the middle, the Natural Solutions Kit, because it actually has several different oils in it, but then it also has some of our other products like our toothpaste. Let me tell you, honestly, before I started using essential oils, I really was like, toothpaste is toothpaste, and who really cares, and whatever's the cheapest on the shelf, that's what I'm going to get, because I really didn't care. You know, you brush your teeth and you're done with it. But when I started using doTERRA, I thought, well, I'll give the toothpaste a try. I really didn't have any expectations of it, and I started using it, and I thought it was great. I didn't necessarily realize at the time how great it was, but I just thought, hey, this is cool. Well, then I went on vacation and I forgot it at home, and so we had to buy some while we were out, and I used it, and it was gross. I mean, and I can't remember if it was Crest or Colgate or what kind it was, but it really just felt like I had this film on my teeth, and I realized, like, that's how it's always been. I've always had that never completely clean feeling before, and I didn't realize that until I was using the On Guard toothpaste, because now I feel clean and I feel like, you know, my teeth were actually brushed. So it just made a big difference. I won't ever use another toothpaste again. But I love this Natural Solutions Kit because you're actually even saving almost $100 off the wholesale price. So it's not even $100 off the retail, that $98.08 that you see there. That's not off the retail price. That's an extra above and beyond the wholesale savings. So that's one of my favorite kits. I also love the Family Physician Kit. That has our 10 most commonly used, most popular oils in it. And then our Home Essentials Kit. I love this kit because it comes with a diffuser. Diffusers are absolutely amazing. When I first started using oils, I thought, I can just smell it out of the bottle, or I can put it in my hand and breathe it in. Why do I need a diffuser? And then somebody gave me one, and I started using it because I had it. And I really don't know how I lived without one before. It's amazing because I can be delivering the oils to everybody in my household all at once. It's cleaning the air. It's helping us breathe better. I mean, it's just, there's so many different things that having a diffuser helps with. So I love this Home Essentials Kit because it comes with a diffuser. Now, the Natural Solutions Kit also comes with a diffuser as well. But this one is the pedal diffuser, and I love this diffuser, but it only runs for up to 4 hours. And this one can go from either 4 hours or 8 hours. And they both shut off automatically. But so I call this one my daytime diffuser and this one my nighttime diffuser because I have both of them. So I really love them both. But they're definitely, having a diffuser is definitely an essential thing for my house anymore. I can't live without my diffusers anymore. But so you can either get a kit, and when you see the prices on here, the price of this includes your membership. So it's not this kit plus $35. It's actually just this amount. And then you get your wholesale membership for an entire year. And the thing that I love about doTERRA, well, I say that several times. One of the things I love about doTERRA is if you decide at the end of the year that you want to renew your membership, it's not an automatic renewal, but if you decide that you want to renew, it's only $25 to renew. And then when you do renew, you get a free bottle of peppermint at wholesale price. That's $20.50. So when you want to renew your membership, it's only $4.50 to renew your membership, basically. So it's pretty amazing. I love the way this company works because they really try to get you, we get free stuff all the time. We have all kinds of, they give away contests and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, I love this company, if you can't tell by now. But these are just some of the kits. If you want to look at some of the other kits, let me know. But these are probably our 3 most common, most popular kits that people get. Or like I say, if you wanted to get just a wholesale membership and get that 25% off of retail, you can do that. And then also get, whichever individual oils you want to do. You can do it either way. And what do you get from me? You know, when you get the oils from me, when I first started in this business, I was very clear with myself. I sat down and I said, what goals do I want to have? And one of my biggest goals is that I don't ever just sell somebody some oils and walk away. I don't want to ever be that kind of person, because I want to walk you through this journey. I want to help you with tips on how to use the oils. I want to train you on how to use the oils so that you're using them safely and correctly. And I want to give you, different ideas and things like that. I want to continue your education with you. I want to walk on this journey with you. I really hate it when, I go to a class or a party or whatever, and I buy something from somebody and then I never hear from them again. And I can't even count on my hands, my fingers, and my toes how many times that's happened to me. And it really bugs me because, if I buy something from a person versus buying from a store, I expect to get that personal treatment. And so that's something that's really important to me that I give to other people. I have people that, have bought from me a year and a half ago, and they still, message me up and, hey, what would you do for this issue? Or, hey, I'm going to be cooking this. What would you use? And that type of thing. And that's what I want. That's what I'm here for. And truth be told, I don't know everything. I really don't. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And so if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to give you some made up answer. I'm going to go and I'm going to find the real answer for you. And I'm always going to be honest with you. And, I know it sounds funny, and it's something that probably, these kind of statements are overused these days. But the truth is, I really do care about each individual person that I deal with. Each individual person that I talk to is important to me because I care about people. I really do. And so it's important to me that you're healthy, that you're safely using them. I really do care about you, and I care about your family. And so these are things that, are very important to me. These are things that you will get, from getting the oils from me. Trying to pull me back up here. There we go. So if you have any other questions or anything like that, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. I love answering questions about essential oils, especially. Please get in contact with me. You can either email me at bestlifenow, bestlifenow14 at gmail.com. bestlifenow14 Sorry. Or you can find me on Facebook, send me a message. I love to talk about this stuff with you guys, so please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or any concerns, or if you're ready to go ahead and kick up your barbecue to the next level too. I will talk to you later. Hope you guys are having a great summer.